All right, welcome to the program. My name is Dr. Manko Ota. You are watching the TPN TV and Radio Network coming to you live from the United States of America. Well, today we got a very interesting topic we want to discuss today, and this topic got to do with what happened at Parliament when the president called an emergency, session of Parliament where something happened. A lot of I don't know say. One of the things we revere na we country is the seat of parliament, right? Parliament na in we they look up to for make the laws. Every law we will believe say they're supposed for institute another country then again for go through parliament. In fact, now the reason this way we call the parliamentarians they're honorable because these are the people who these are the people we honor because they are the beacon of with democracy. They are the people we they look up to in terms of the way we they conduct ourselves. So this week, the president and a speaker of parliament, where na Dr. Abbas Bundu, then call an emergency session of parliament where then go introduce a bill for the midterm census. Well, talking of the midterm census. We've been talking about this census for a couple of weeks now when the issue come up. Now, here's the thing. The first thing we get for look at ourselves in this session of parliament is why the government now then they call for parliamentary, input into the census. Remember when this census issue come up, when the proclamation take place, I don't know, is it not about a year now? Yes, it is almost a year now when the president make the proclamation, say he want to make a census, a midterm census. So they not been carried go that one day in a parliament at all. And I think about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I talked about this in this program and say, had it not been for somebody who is a novice in terms of the law of Sierra Leone, the constitution of Sierra Leone, this census would have been conducted without any input from parliament. And parliament will not have said anything. Okay? You see, one of the biggest problems where I get with we politicians them as alone, these corrupt practices where they perpetrate into the system. Now, last week, I think last week or so, I talk say, if me not been the president of Sierra Leone, I have been done fire me Attorney General. After Sylvia, when a novice in terms of law, now in for go dig, for go see the problems of conducting a census without parliamentary approval. Dr. Sylvia Blyden. Now, one of the people there were probably not the first person now, and they were able to dig for find out him. This census is not legal because Parliament need to get an input after the proclamation, and the census get for take what they call for 21 days. If you're not able for oppose them with 2/3 of the Parliament, then the census supposed to go on. Now, the president gets lawyers wey na the head of them lawyers, then the government lawyers, then na the Attorney General. This na the person this way everything wey the president do, na im get for advise am wetin na the right, wetin na the legal way for do them thing dem dey. 1 year after the president make a proclamation on this midterm census. So if indeed 1 year pass, the president not able for no say in order for am for make e start this census, then get for put on a parliament first. 1 year later, and the Attorney General is sitting down there, and not able to advise the government for saying that the right way this for go. That in itself is a weakness for the president, Malabio. And this explains exactly the way this government they operate. When a government they operate without regards to the constitution, without regards to the people way then they lead, that's not the generic definition of the dictatorship. Had it not been for Sylvia, this census would have go without any parliamentary proceedings. Now, I want to be very clear. I am not saying the president in call where he called an emergency parliamentary session now an illegal thing. The president get the right for call a session of parliament, an emergency session of parliament at any time. He get that legal right there. I am not saying it is illegal, and I am not saying when they tender this bill illegal. I am not saying that, because I see a lot of people they get their own different interpretation of the constitution or their own opinion. I am not a legal scholar, so I get to be very careful how I try for put me case in order for make an all able fall into any kind of a trap. I am not saying that it is illegal. Usai I can say it is illegal. The president already don't buy everything where is supposed for ban, then don't put all the preparation, buy computers, buy this, do that before this census. Now, then they go put on a parliament. That's not the negligence, that's not the problem, that's not the I get problem with. That's not the I think same, it is illegal. And that's also is the cause of we parliamentarians. Let me be clear. I am not condoning any violence inside the walls of parliament or wherever the hold that session there. It's still parliament. I am not condoning that at all. And I condemn that outrightly for saying there's a way how we have to resolve problems. There's a way. Always. Without resorting to violence, we're not able to resolve problems then. Because the problem here is when we they call honorables, members of parliament, they go to public, when I begin to go first. Publicly, when I say first, not in terms of just verbal, physical, na parliament, like other parliamentary, councils and parliaments, then other councils, where would they see, then they do, then they send blows to each other. I think that's like a degradation of the very essence of the title we give as honorables. That's my a degrader, and that is unfortunate because violence with violence not going able to solve anything. It just they continue. It just feel like you get fire. You know they go take fire for hot fire. Now you take water or you take fire deterrent for hot the fire. So I condemn that. But looking at the same time, looking at the main concerns of these parliamentarians, I think that it makes sense because the president neglect them, the president disrespect them, and when a president disrespect the people them, when are co-equal, another co-equal branch of the government, that's very, very disrespectful. Now, we don't get some kind of a black mark now we parliament indignity because of the fact we them fed. So now it is time for the president, for make he acknowledge the fact saying he make mistake. If not mistake, he make. If not a mistake, the president need for hold, like what I talk earlier, in legal team accountable. Because I know they pay you for something where they pay you for make you advise me legal matters, then you know able to give me any legal advice where you go able to make they stay out of trouble. Are they wholly accountable? So the president now, if not to this particular mistake, if not mistake, if this particular mistake now genuine mistake, then now he get for hold those who are responsible for advice and legally for hold them accountable. This is my take on this matter, because at the end of the day, definitely at the end of the day, now it is disgrace to we all Sierra Leoneans. You know, they see we parliament, they fight each other, it in a social media all over, you know. It is disrespectful, man. It's very, very disgraceful. Very, very disgraceful. Probably, I may be wrong, but maybe my commentator they correct me if I'm wrong. Probably this is not the first time. Well, the second time. Where I see, in the course of these 3 years, where I see Parliament effect inside parliamentary halls, that needs to stop. Otherwise, we need for revoke that title who would give as honorable. Somebody on honorable, you know, effect. You know how it affects. So now let me bring in my commentator, Mr. Baibure. Baibure, I'm not sure you follow up all this brouhaha about this census and you know the emergency session and waiting commodity. What are you take?
Thank you, Dr. Monica. And I want to tell listeners I do all over the world. Well, just like how he talk, what's happening at the parliament is very, very unfortunate. And that it portray the country image negatively. And that one they get some consequences for we economy and even the way of life. We image when we go out. But little do I surprise because this government, this idea of violence, it don't become trending and now it don't become a pattern. And then they demonstrate, say, the president who gets he clueless, he don't get no idea about what they call government. We don't say it don't manifest in many ways the way how it do things. I go one reference a little bit. We in try for markets in 3 year achievements. What you talk about people there who suffer violence. The youth there are McKinney. What did the president say? The president say now the government now getting generator. And the government will get in generator, it can't take her. For proof say the government is clueless. The president don't know what in our government. The government is for the people, by the people, and of the people. So the people now they get the governments. And now the people now they get the generator. And the president talk say the bubble they die unnecessarily. The president will say back he clueless, he don't know what they call the rule of law. The law enforcement people, they not get no right for summarily execute somebody. I make we get what they call the rule of law. That anybody is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty by the court of law. When we accuse the body of disorderly behavior, then they not to license for law enforcement officer for me is summarily executes the bobo there. Instead of the president holding them accountable, more see if the police then get right for apply reasonable force as the way they did. The government, the president justify automatically without any report, any investigation, say the bobo now then go finance, so they are bound to die, disregarding the rule of law. Talking to the issue of parliament, as you rightly said, parliament is supreme, is the fountain of honor, dignity, and respect for the country. Then kind thing they will see the act of violence we will see them perpetrate at that place. They very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate. But this government, as I constantly the reference, then get what they call pauper, which is a philosophy, which is an idea, which is a doctrine that will they talk about force, whether you go with their own way or they impose the thing on you. So what you be see that in the now calculated idea by the government of the day for always the avoid the due process or the due process of the law for take place. It always the bulldozing way for do whatever the government wants to do, which
So
is wrong.
let me ask you a question, Baibure, before you go further. I get other people that we don't come at the group. But let me ask you a question. Do you accept the fact, say, yes, the government late, the government is negligent, but still they get the legal right for make them call a session way they introduce the bill. And if that is the case, waiting at the problem will you get with that?
Dr. Manko Taido, you don't make them very, very clear. The law, the law can never be retroactive. The law can never be retroactive. That now for make the law, for make it cover illegality. The Parliament of Sierra Leone now the only body will get the right for spend the country money. Here is a government will begin to expend money from the consolidated fund on a project will not get the blessing of Parliament. Will be said Parliament means the people. Another word for Parliament is the people. Now money with the people. Yeah. If the president take money, he employ people. He begin go about a project where we not give consent. That is wrong. It is wrong. The president is wrong. And now if they can't make a law, if they try for can't make a law, for me it cover say that money we don't begin spend. Now after 21 days we they don't learn, it don't become a law. So now writing. What about the money we don't spend before the law? You see, it's a criminal tendency on the part of the government doing what they have done on the people of Sierra Leone. They know they make laws so. And it's a very it's shameful, as you rightly said, with all the legal team what the government gets, they will advise government, they not get no plan. We'll get a timeline, say we are coming to do census. First thing first, this time it goes to parliament. From parliament, we start doing this. From this, we're doing this. But it's like, as the word was right, now clueless, now people that will not get idea, then just can't grab the function of government. Now that kind of thing that the government is, and that kind of thing that the country is suffer. So.
Let me go to Mr. Kabo. Mr. Kabo, looking at the entire episode will take place, do you believe, like what other people then they talk now say the government, the money where they don't spend on this census at this time without the approval of the government, they need for return and back? You think saying legal thing that one day?
Good afternoon. This is Kabo from New York. Unfortunately, I was not in from the time you were giving your monologue, and I am just coming into this question which you asked. I don't know where the foundation was, or where you started, or what your monologue was like. But What I'm saying here is,
let me because not everyone will no more. Bashir Yusuf don't come, Mr. Abu don't come. Let me give you just a brief synopsis of what I mean. This will have been a talk. We all know, say, about a year ago, when the president make a proclamation of the midterm census, not so, and within that 1 year day, by law, before ever they begin spend on this census, they need for take that proclamation in Parliament. Parliament look and approve them, then they begin spend. After 1 year, they not do them. In fact, now somebody when I novice, we don't know nothing about law. When Sylvia Bladin, now in this big able to get this information here. Now the time now when they rush this thing to Parliament, we will cause that hala will happen at Parliament, which me I condemn totally. Whether the honorable then are people that will not agree with the president, they don't need for go fight in Parliament because they call them honorable. But looking at the circumstances, do you think where some people that they go and call say yes, okay, the president now don't go put this here, it's there for take 21 days, but the money when they already spent for this census now, they need for it to refund that money because it is illegal. Go ahead.
All right. I look at it in two phases. One, the behavior of the parliamentarians, which is called for. That is terrorism to the highest degree. That is contempt by tearing the proclamation of the president. And I hope the president or the government of Sierra Leone under Madabio is investigating and making sure that they take the right decision. And I'm looking forward to the arrest of Chernobyl by the government of Sierra Leone for the contempt of which he the riotous behavior which he perpetrated in the wells of the parliament. It doesn't matter whether it is in Bintimani, it is under the name of the government and parliament of Sierra Leone. I'm looking forward to his arrest for that kind of behavior. And the next thing you're talking about is about the monies already expended. Now, I want to tell you this, if you don't know that the census that is taking place is not the monies of the government. I mean, it's not the monies of the people of Sierra Leone or the taxpayer of Sierra Leone. There are sponsors, there are, I don't know, agencies that are responsible for this, and they all approve that. Now, don't know, what I mean is, it is not the fiscal cash, taxpayers' money. And that's what I'm telling you. Okay, I know you're going to say the donors give the money on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone, yes, but it is not the taxpayers' money. Yeah, but it is for the census. I'm coming. So having said that, you know, the opposition, if you follow them keenly, APC in general, they always want to beat the gun. They always go ahead of saying something, both in the media and those lame lawmakers. When they grab on one thing, they begin to talk about it. All those propagandists, they say things ahead. And when there is a program laid down, there are certain structures, there are certain steps one has to follow. Now, in the process of following the steps, people don't wait, especially the opposition. They were asking for this, they are asking for this. And whether the president knew very well, he's going to follow. I'm coming. The president knew very well. Hold on. Let me land down. Let me land down. The president knows very well that these are the procedures I have to follow. And he's going step by step until the end. But the fact remains that APC are always ahead. And when the president comes to do it now, they're going to say, oh, because we mentioned it, that's the president. That's why the president is doing it. This is not correct. This is just politics you guys are making.
Mr. Gabu. Right. Let's have an interactive program. It will be better than just one green person talk. You know, one for make them come in and clarify certain things. So it will be better to get an interactive. Mr. Gabo, I ask you a specific question. Do you believe the money should be returned or not? You said you know answer the question. You said the money not to the people's taxpayer money. Actually, it is the people's taxpayer money. If you don't know that, go back, ask the SLPP folks. They will tell you same money. That money they where they sponsor, whether it coming from the EU, it coming from Britain. These are money where now the people of Sierra Leone, now they own money the same way they're supposed from dispense am like the one way we the people we now we don't pocket what we dey call about us are the same way they're supposed to dispense this money.
All right, let me answer that question. Now, you said I didn't answer your question. Let me answer that question.
Okay.
Now, be it the Sierra Leone people's money or be it the government, the foreign donors' money, the census is going to take place. It expense based on the fact that the census is going to take place. Why will the money be refunded when the census is not cancelled and the census is going to take place? Why do you think they should refund the money? If the census don't take place, maybe you will have a ground to refund the money. And the census is going to take place, so there's no way to refund the money.
All right, I get you. I now go to Mr. Abdul. Mr. Abdul, do you think this money where you don't spend already before even the approval in illegal money, so therefore that money is supposed to be refunded by the government?
Yes, I do, but that begs the question, Mr. Makota, where are they going to get that money to refund? You and I know any money with the cannas alone, as you clearly stated it, whether from any other country we come on, it's not given to the government. They will pass it to the government, but it's always meant for the citizen of that country. So, excuse me.
All right, you just froze.
Money from the IMF and World Bank. That debt goes still there. Mother Bio, JJ Safa, and the rest of them would not die. Me and you waiting at this program would not die. The debt still remains until perhaps they decide for forgiveness. So, Mr. Kagbo, they skew the argument. Any money given, now the government, now the people of Sierra Leone gets that money. But the question is, whose side then will go put money for pay? You know, and I know we don't get nothing as a loan for say, now this will get, so whose side then go get the money? I think it's good for MEC, you ask that question, let them refund the money, because therefore only start for spend the taxpayers' money when the people's representative parliament actually don't debate this thing, they agree on it, and they say, okay, it's a go, they vote on it, it pass, then they do the same, then they can spend the people's money. Now, you are right on that side. But to ask, say, well, how they go, they for refund the money, yes, but where are they going to get that money from? Unless you are suggesting that the individual government people are from other where it is not in the constitution of Sierra Leone that a first lady forget budget from the taxpayers' money, then they want to refund that money. Then I will agree with you grudgingly that yes, they have. I think it's not a non-starter, So it's just that if for monitor there now, if this thing is going to pass, then they can spend the people's money now.
All right. So now we go to Bashiru. Bashiru, the same question. What do you think about? What are your take?
So also it makes no sense to refund the budget. I think, and this is where by Bureb they talk about how the parliament is honorable. I think the biggest disgrace is Salon government are the biggest disgrace. Okay, because then parliament in one job. Again, this is not to APC, it's to parliament all the parliamentarian them in the past time are the biggest disgrace now with government sits. They need a oversight anything. They need the job of oversight for looking into these ministries, MDAs and stuff. They need to do any of that, regardless of which study in a party. Okay, so we call them honorable. Honestly, it's a disgrace because they are maybe the worst part of our government. Because most time they don't do anything. You said something, Makota, that Sylvia Blyden is the one that had to bring this up, that you need authorization from parliament. The freaking parliamentarians did not even know that.
Yeah.
Right? Now they will jump and make say, oh, you regard you do this. You did not even know you had the right that they needed to ask you for the permission. Right? So it's this type of things, this type of competence that the parliament, who's supposed to hold the executive branch accountable, is so incompetent. Again, as an APC, you can call NG, call Temubangu, PDP, I don't care. All of them, put them together. They've all been incompetent and hopeless. Okay, what if you get a better parliament? What they will do, what they will ask for, it's not a refund. Okay, it's an accountability of the money you don't spend already. Show me you say you don't spend. Okay, Be accountable. What you don't spend now? Because if you actually spent it in putting processes in place for the census, then what do you need to refund it for? If you already use that for train people and for census, how are you going to return it for? It makes no sense. We can do political arguments there, because it's political convenient, but it makes no sense for the country, right? But you can hold them accountable. How much you don't spend, USA you spend up, show we USA you spend up. And this is what a competent parliament will do, right? But we're not even talking about that. So we there have the government, but nobody they even talk about really how do we hold the government accountable. And this is the same thing. Where APC and the government are the same thing, where APC and SRP are the same thing, right? But there's something to me when it comes to this census thing that is we're not dealing with, which is very, very important. Ajibu just posted something about it.
Yeah. So let me just read that.
Let me answer that though. I think this is very, very important. We're always going to have a problem by giving this power to the president, that the president can just call for midterm census because they use it for political reasons. Most stable countries in the world have a specific time frame for census. If it's 10 years, it's 10 years. If 5 years, it's 5 years. Nobody will just come and can't put census because election is about to happen. They will use the census specifically when that time reaches. Right? We need to take this power away from the president, that the president can just ask for census, call it midterm census. We all know it's used for political reasons. So let's get rid of this power from the government. Specific standard time. If it's every 10 years, we do it. Since our population is growing so fast, if it's every 5 years, we do it. But this political power that you're giving to this president, that the president can just come and ask for census, because election is going to, we all know election is coming, so you ask for census so that you can skew the parliament or other things. It is set we up for.
All right, let me bring in Baibure again. Baibure, let me read the last post way Ajibu Jallo post. He said, Mankota, yes, Sylvia brought it up, but it was the opposition leader, Honorable Chernoba, that directly called the attention of the president while he was on a program on Star TV. So before you come, Baibure, let me just put something here. Yes, Ajibu not true for say yes now Cherno, but the point here is Cherno is taking he do for take the credit because number one, this thing only done for almost a year. While Cherno not directly in a member of parliament and in a lawyer is supposed to know say this thing they happen wouldn't call while at that time them it not been done call the president directly and say, Mr. President, this is what you need to do. Otherwise, this is going to be illegal. Maybe you go say not to in your responsibility, but now in your responsibility. Go ahead, Baibure.
Well, thank you, Dr. Mankota, once more again. Me more see this here in a multi-dimensional way. The government gets a pattern of abusing the people's fund. We don't they see the Africanists they talk about, they create an account for the wife of the president without the due process. And the money, any money, una salon money, be it a grant or a gift or whatever. Now the people's money, just from my as an individual, Baibura as an individual, you can't take me money, spend them, tell me. I want more for the purpose of this conversation, more call parliament the people. Because everybody's represented, it is there. For me, the president gets the temerity for good to take the money, do no more today. And sadly, this very president, now a government told them old past government on accountability. And they try for George the possibility of accountability. He thinks he's clever. I'm telling you, Dr. Mankota, because when something passes in a parliament, it means it don't subject to the rules and regulations of the Financial Act of Sierra Leone. So if then they ask you about audit, something they don't sanction through parliament, now the financial laws of Sierra Leone, then they use it for may account in case of an audit. But if not you won't get government in blessing, not to parliament function, now just an executive law order, it's like you go see some aspect of legality, the president, they want dodge the responsibility for account to the people. Now I make them they escape the loss of the country. We forgot about for spend the country in money. And in Unoga for allow that for me it be. It's very unfortunate that the thing ended up in the confusion. But again, we have a problem. The loss of the country, we need for make we build them in such a way that we not will give room to something like violence. What I mean, we don't see this government, it can provoke the opposition in such a manner that when they make a walkout, we not get no rule or talk say, we forget a quorum before the proceeding proceeds. When the opposition walk out, those guys will end up signing the thing into a law. The law not tell them say this particular number of parliamentarian get for day inside before the proceeding continue. So the government always they get a way out of things for me make great problem. So now I make this time round the opposition then apply physical say no this year since there is no law we will stop in case we go out physically will not allow it. You see, so now something like that. I'm not condoning or supporting the act of violence, but just they paint the scenario which led us to that.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go back to Mr. Kabo. Mr. Kabo, one of the things that we all they talk time and time again is the fact that the reason why we politicians then they behave them kind of behavior, whether you talk about the president overlooking the processes, the legal processes, or parliament, they behave the way that they behave so. Now, because we not get strong institutions. If we get strong institutions, then can't see and ever. Do you think it is time for the government focus on building institutions then first before they focus on all other things? Go ahead, Mr. Kabo.
Yeah, institutions are good, and we have them, and SLPP is good at building institutions. But the fact of the matter remains that no matter what Madabio does, as long as it's Madabio, it's SLPP, it's not good for APC. And we know this is not the first time a president has done that. And Eskuruma has done a lot of those things in lieu of time, expanding in lieu of time before the program starts or whatever project it starts. But because SLPP is looking forward to the development of the country, it's not looking forward to politicize, they always take it on the low and making sure that things run well. But SLPP, APC, they use Scalbante, and anything SLPP does is not good because it is not them doing it. But when they come in power, they do it. But when it is SLPP, they are always wrong. What I believe is that I think APC in general has the philosophy that no other party should rule Sierra Leone. Even if it would have been NGC that won this election, they would have given NGC the tough time because the fact remains that there is no other party important in Sierra Leone other than SLPP. Other than APC. And that is just the absolute wrong idea. So this is the time of SLPP. They are Madabio is the captain of the ship. He has to steer it as he wants without your dictation. APC thinks they can dictate. They want to tell the president what he's doing. And that dictation is what Madabio is against. He does what he wants as he wants to do it and how it's to be done. Okay. Mr. Bashiru made it clearly that it doesn't matter whether the money was for the expenditures that have been taking place. What is important is to give an account whether this is done appropriately. The monies are expensed based on what he's doing, and that's all he needs to. That's all I believe that could have been a better solution. But the census is going to take place no matter what you guys say. And no matter what rudeness Chebnoba put in parliament, for which I'm advocating his arrest,
Mr. Kabo,
the census is going to take place.
Mr. Kabo,
yes, please.
It seems like in psychology, what you can call a POMI.
You call it whatever you want to call it, Mr. Magota.
Yeah, POMI is when somebody make a mistake and he want to shift the blame to the next person instead of accepting responsibility. Now
He don't make no mistake. That's no mistake Madam Bio makes. He is the president of the country. He didn't make no mistake. This is for the growth of the country. He don't make no mistakes. That's all I'll tell you. Yes.
You say Madam Bio not make no mistake.
He don't make no mistake.
Why Madam Bio make a proclamation 1 year later before they bring this thing in a parliament?
That is his method of doing the things. Okay? It doesn't mean that when you go to school, when they write the examination questions, they are in serial. They go from 1 to 10. Doesn't mean you have to go 1, 2, 3. You can start anywhere you want to. He makes no mistakes. At the end of the day, he's going to finish his job, and that's what he's going to do. Let me tell you something. You guys just want to dictate to him what you want to do, as if you are the people in charge of him. You want to control the president. That will never happen.
All right, let me
I'll tell you.
Let me bring in Mr. Abdul again. Mr. Abdul, go ahead.
Okay.
This guy's crazy.
I think we have to separate facts from fiction. And I can always challenge my brother, Mr. Kagbo. You've said it that when we come at this program, we are trying to educate the viewers. But time and again, based on my own observation for the longest, perhaps me and Mr. Kagbo done there on this radio, Mr. Kagbo always tends for deviate from what is the theme of the program to the venom, the conundrum we get with APC. This has nothing to do with what they go on where you get. If Mr. Kagbo will try for they do that for law, educate the viewers. Of all what he say, I think referencing Bashiru, what he talk about, these people should be questioned or asked how this money was spent in Paramount. I think it makes sense. But to bring in the idea, say, hey, Madam Biono, they make no mistake, because he's the president. Wow. A man that has been living in the United States, only God knows, the greatest democracy. And Mr. Kagbo, with all due respect, Tijan Kaba ruled for 11 years. You know, Yeri say, like how you put on just now, that APC, you know, they give the government for rule once they are always in opposition. And it doesn't matter if Nayom Kela been there, APC could have done the same thing. Then I wonder if you go able to tell the listeners whether all what is happening now under the reign of Madabio, Tijan Kaba did any or even 1% of it. But what I want to tell you what you don't know, maybe, and now I challenge you, like ask people who work under Tijan Kaba. When Tijan Kaba traveled overseas, took money from the central bank, on his return to Freetown, it authorized a check to be submitted back to the central bank. Now, I want to know if Madabio, they do that. Because you seem to say APC is the people, the party and supporters are the one responsible for make Madabio no able to govern. They cannot give that excuse that they cannot govern because of the opposition. The Democrats here never said they were not able to govern because of Donald Trump. Yes, he's the president. He will come in, he puts in program there in place, and then if the opposition wants support program the way they go agree, then do it. If they not agree, that is politics. But for you, time and time again, to blame whatever happens in Sierra Leone, oh, it's APC, it's APC. It's very disingenuous, and I hate to say, I mean, there must be something. I'm laughing because there must be something where APC don't do you directly, or maybe a family of yours, perhaps, maybe you are related with the Surifona, the Taki, the Bangura them, where you have all this venom for APC. Okay, the question here is, did these people do the right thing? And if they not do the right thing, like what Mr. Bashiru say, there is no way of refunding money, which I agree with him. I applaud that point there. He is right, that they should be questioned now as to how they spend that money there. And you calling for the arrest of Chernobyl as an opposition leader of parliament. I mean, I believe, say, if this is the advice where Madabio, they listen with some of Funa, perhaps we are now reversing back to what happened in 1991. They have people in the government like you who are even calling for the arrest of quote-unquote big fish. We will not name names because we are on national radio. But you know what they get. So now they know my one stop, Mr. Kabo.
Yeah. Let me bring in, before I go to Bashu, let me bring in Ajibu Jallo. Ajibu Jallo, thank you very much for Mr. Kabo, you mute yourself. So hold on, you mute yourself. So let me bring in Ajibu Jallo first. I will give you chance, Mr. Kabo. I don't say you mute yourself, Mr. Kabo. You not unmute yourself. Let me see if I go able to unmute you. No.
All right, I'll unmute myself. I'm saying that he's addressing me directly. Do you want me to respond to him?
Hold on, I give you the chance to let you address him. But I just want for the other people that will not talk, let them talk something. And I understand that for say yes, he accuse you. Ajibu Jallo, thank you very much for coming to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
So here is a discussion very, very important. Where Mr. Kabo is blaming the APC party for the mistakes of Madabio, because that's not so I for describe him. We will get the chance for make he defend himself. What are you take on this particular episode where they go on?
Let me clear it to Mr. Jallo before he answers. You said I said the mistakes of Madabio. You said Madabio make mistakes. I said Madabio do not make mistakes.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Okay, he don't make no mistake. That's what I said.
Okay, go ahead, Ajibu.
Okay, on that instance, if Mr. Kabo is say the current president made a mistake, then I will allow her to make it drown in your own dictum, make it drown in your own reality. You cannot do the reality of the rest of the world. With regards to census for God's sake, not to an strange activity. An activity where for happy now a country, for happy now every country in the world. In Sierra Leone, it is included in the constitution for say we forget census once every 10 years. It further included that the president can choose for guest census at any time where he choose for where and he writes down on it. However, the way government they operate, it operates such that you get other arms of government where they checkmate with other arms of government they do for make sure say they spend the country money or they do the interest of the public. That is why you have the parliament. The parliament therefore make sure we check as to what the executive branch should do. When you decide you want to do a census, you therefore develop an instrument. That instrument will be developed by the relevant ministry, when at the Ministry of Development and Economic Affairs. That ministry, now that minister, they can lay that instrument there. Now, they can actually frustrate the president in idea in a parliament. Also, the president they come, that the Minister of Development, not Attorney General, not Finance, Minister of Development, now responsible for census. Now they can lay on a parliament for saying that this is the president wants. Parliament, on the other hand, the responsibility now for check and make sure say that census the way you call it makes sense. It bring benefits to the people them, and who say the full money for taking offer. And if you show the money, how you spend the money, and you spend the money judiciously. The parliament in Holland. Well, this president, because he don't use for bulldoze, he don't use for do things without following procedures, without following processes. He choose to start the process without talking to parliament. Because you get a decent opposition leader, you don't see, you don't listen, you don't get all of these kinds of business don't start, don't start. He say no, eventually they will come to me. He should not wait, then change dates 2 times. When they be put for the 19 now the 10 now it go now and I start radio and discussion because now a decent opposition, they say me don't understand what this president they do. I don't believe say no get advice and they will go advise them for say you get for bringing instruments kind of parliament. They say me don't understand, but no see what you do. Now that time now the president to rush. If now the bad opposition, you go wait till the 19 when they start the process, then he raise alarm in parliament. But no, before it start. Now he talk few days before he said, I don't understand this president what they do. I don't expect it will go this long and not bring documents kind of parliament. Now they can rush now. Call parliament from the recess. Parliament is on a recess. So man supposed to don't go overseas, so man don't go and at a break time. Just like when school they go with spring break. Parliament stay in spring break. They rush call people and come back. And then the speaker try for bulldoze. Just like when the president don't allow for bulldoze for come. And that's happening in parliament, which is wrong. That is not correct. That is not correct. One of my friends say, Mr. Omar Ukebe, he said, well, if the speaker believes that the president get power, like I say, the president get power for giving proclamation, why can't a parliament? Why not just carry on with the census and do what you want to do? If those guys know about it, one right itself, that's not the case. So, Mr. Kago, you are wrong. What to show in the work? You forgetting that kind of parliament. Also, what's in the doubt we now, who are they advise the government? Because Mankota, he say Attorney General, not Attorney General a role to advise government on that. Attorney General, a government lawyer. We government want for engage on some business. They want for make sure say okay, then we send documents for make it look. But the possible way for advise government on this now, the Ministry of Development and Economic Planning. Inside that ministry there, you get the development sector. The development sector, where now the number 4 man government development sector. After the I don't call it FS, you get development sector. In the civil servant, where now in the writes the paper, now in the actually writes the cabinet paper. I mean, this must have been discussed in cabinet. For see, they want to do census. And for do a cabinet paper, now the development sector, under the advice discussion of the minister, now they do a cabinet paper, can a cabinet member agree? So if you don't get cabinet paper already, you know, say you get for going to parliament. Mr. Pakra, we don't be in a government for 35 years, you understand that? If you say Mr. Pakra, when a development sector, you don't understand that. Okay, the secretary to president, when I advise the president on all public commission issues, he advise the president say forget parliament go, paper go to parliament. But come on, now left for joke. If we are not ready for be president, we're not ready for for one government. No commodity, Lord, people can come. This is a joke.
All right. Let me give 2 minutes, Mr. Gabo. Now, I'm not going to say defend yourself, but at least give your opinion. 2 minutes. Then I go to back.
Yeah, Mr. Jallo's last remarks say if the president don't want to let him get out to give another person a chance. That is always the slogan of the APC. I mean, and it's good that you as an official, a former official, has reiterated that it has been going into the media that he will not even see 2023. And some even are saying not even the independents. They're going to get him out. That's what you guys wanted, and it will never happen. And secondly, the second thing you mentioned is that all right, it will come back to me. Now let me come back to Mr. Yeah. No. Yeah. So okay, what you were saying is because General Maju went somewhere, or General Ba went somewhere, and they asked him. He said, "You don't know what this president is doing," and as such, that is why the president rushed. You see, what you guys are doing is you always accuse the president that is governing under what your wishes are. That's what you guys are doing. You will be learning states, and you've been in governance before, so you know that every project has a stage, and you will start to talk about those stages as the president started the project. You will start to go with those stages, and now that the president is going with those stages, that's the time you said, "Oh, because we said it." If we didn't say that, he will not do it, and that means he's covering the government under your dictatorship. And whatever you guys put is what you say. It happens all over the media. Even your puppets say that because there are procedures, and to some extent, you guys understand the procedures to be followed. And as the president is going, you are ahead of him and talking to the people. This is what he's supposed to do. And Bryce is doing the thing that he's supposed to do. So when he reached to the point where you guys are, talking about, you say, "Oh, because we said that. If we didn't say it, we will not do it." That's where you are. You are leading you are creating you are making as if you're leading the president. You're telling the president what he's doing. You don't keep quiet when the president is doing his job. You don't keep quiet. So you guys have to keep quiet and allow the president to do his job. When he creates a problem, then hold him responsible.
Mr. Kago, what is the position there?
And back to this guy. Hold on. Let me make it clear. Let me make it clear to this guy, to Mr. Abdul, who is saying that I have venom for APC. Maybe I have been a victim of APC killing people. I give you this option. Trace my background, and up to the last man standing, my background. You will never see anybody connected to politics. If you've had anybody, maybe I'm the first person. Okay. Yes, thank you.
If you not stop, I know I'm muting anybody now when the person they talk.
Go ahead.
But I give you 2 minutes. If you don't talk, You be non talk. I give chance again for making defend yourself. I give you 2 minutes. You go 4 minutes. That is fair to the other people them. I'm not saying we all get opinions them, but let we follow the rule, okay? So that we not go able mistake other people them. But you go ahead.
I think if we're going to have a conversation, then it has to be something interactive, because in that 4 minutes, there's so many stuff that Mr. Castle said that are just plain out of the box, like just out there, right? And sometimes it's almost impossible for you to even go back and hold him on what he said, because there's so much stuff he's saying. Government, oppositions are there not to be your friend. They're not there to be your cheerleader. Anywhere in the country, the opposition is not your cheerleader. So they'll say they need to be quiet and wait for you to do your job, and then they will come back. They're not your cheerleader. That's not what they're there for. Okay? You can still govern. The opposition can keep screaming all day long. You can still govern what you want to do in the right way. There are rules that governs that. But one of the first things I saw with this SLPP government was it was a government that they were very worried about being criticized, right? They feel like they should not be criticized. You can build the Eiffel Tower, you can build double that Lunge Bridge. Doesn't mean everybody has to support it. People will criticize it. Doesn't mean it should take you off of your cause of what you think it's developing the country, right? But to have this notion that, oh, everybody should just keep quiet until I finish what I'm planning on doing, then you can come in and come give me a comment after I finish doing things that are maybe illegal or not the right way, and then you can come cheer me at the end or oppose me after I finish. That's not the job for oppositions, but that's another conversation. I go back to this Parliament, right? We keep going there, and we keep talking about institution. Earlier, you're talking about developing institution. It's a waste in Salon to develop any institution, because we all of us here never hold these institutions accountable. Anytime something happens, we go straight to the president and not hold the institution accountable. You know who was sued? The U.S. Census just ended last year when they wanted to make the change about not counting citizens. President Trump was sued. The labor secretary, the commerce secretary was the person that was sued because he's the one that's in charge of census. Okay, we're not holding the minister of economic of development accountable. Everything, every little thing is the president. As if institutions are not there to actually do their jobs. We're not holding these institutions accountable. We're not holding these ministers accountable. The police misbehave, it's the president. As if this president called some anybody, go shoot people out there. Or even if Anes was calling police, go beat this person. Every little thing, we fail to hold the institutions accountable. It's always the president. Parliament misbehave, which is an independent institution by itself. We blame the president.
All right, so let's do this.
No, but Parliament needs to get his stuff together. When APC is in government, APC Parliament will do anything the president wants. They will never oppose it. The same thing with the SLPP Parliament. Because until we take this symbol from party hands, when the party takes this symbol, until we take that away from it, our parliament will always be useless. We'll never develop because we have a parliament that is a yes sir parliament. A parliament that does not.
But let's do this
seriously.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's do an interactive session now, because we still get more time. Let's do an interactive session so anyone can come in. But you bring up this not by turn again. I just want no more. Let we not do in that haphazard manner. Let we do in a more civilized way. Somebody to talk, you come in, the person they stop, and that interaction. Now I want. Okay. But you bring up a good point about holding everything with the push out to the president. I totally agree with you. This now one of the things the way I always they talk on social media say, if everything where they happen na salon na the president, how the president go able for govern? How the other institutions them go able to feel say they're responsible for their new mistake? Because at the end of the day, what will happen? They don't say when they make mistake, not to them they hold accountable. If they go else to another person, which is the president. I think it is time for now we start for the think a little bit say yes. If they don't put you as Minister of Information, you messed up. Yes, the president gets a blame on that, but you then supposed to hold accountable. In fact, here in the United States, then they force the president, then they suggest for the president say, we need you for make you fire this person. Because let them hold them accountable. Let's go ahead. Let's start with Mr. Abdul. It's an interactive session, so anyone can come in. Start with you.
Well, yeah, Mr. Bashir Raj and where you said buttress that for say we're always the hold the president. I think the idea is back home why people are saying that is because the president Naingi the appointment to this person. And you go back and listen to Mada Bio interview on Radio Democracy where he say even if somebody when your own blood relative, he will get a position if he believes that this person is competent. It doesn't mean because they are related, there will not be, as far as I'm concerned, there is no conflict of interest. If you give a position to your own family, where say here in the United States, no problem because you cannot supervise your own relative. Most employers, then they allow you for employ your relative or wife or spouse or whatever.
But Mr. Abdul,
so yes.
why if a police go shoot somebody, the president is not supposed to blame?
No, that's not the case. Well,
I will blame him. I will blame him. In Sierra Leone, I will blame him.
Well, no. Well, the reason why I referenced Makota is because of if somebody competent, now they give the job. I like Asabi you or whatever, but if I know you, if the man where I know, we competent. If you go back to the interview we do, I watch on this morning. He say, if I don't know you, even if you are competent, I know will give you the job. Mr. Bashiru, this is what the president said.
Like an example, yeah, real quick, Mr. Abdul, okay? We see this with Parliament a few months ago with the former Minister of Land, where APC parliamentarian and SLP parliamentarians demanded certain documents from the Minister of Land. When he failed to produce them, we see the amount of pressure we them put on him for producing them paper a day. He ended up getting fired. Okay, because both APC and SLP become parliamentarians that come together and say, now we job for have an oversight in what you do, right? When I put pressure on him, we see that his position became unattainable. We know so the president until he finished in time, he need to go. But the ministers, then, if you are really looking for development, not just to score political points, you can force an incompetent minister to go away. You can put pressure for that person to be replaced. This is what government does everywhere in the world. But like I said, the automatical thing is we forget to, like what Ajibu just said. I bet you inside Salon right now, you ask 80%, industry take charge of census. Then they will tell you that. All over the highlight just I don't think the president. But the reality is that ministry they not in own job for write that instrument there. Now their own job for bring that to Parliament.
All right, let me give you an example, Mashiru. Mr. Gabo, because you've not been there. Now interactive session, you can come in at any time. The only thing.
Listen, no, I did though. I hear everything. It's just that I was not here, but I have my earpiece. I just use them and I can walk around. Okay, yeah. I hear everything.
Let me give you an example. I think was it yesterday or the first day when an accident take place. I don't know, now the western side. What's not the information where they come in, then say the police can Ingo Bank, the two Okada drivers them. That one they cause another problem again. People then begin with them because you know what them blame? The president, the government. So these are some of the things where we supposed to tell people then say yes, there are certain things where they blame the government, but there are certain things where they blame the individual. For example, the man where actually banged the other guy. Now he been in the police. Now in can now and can tell say clarifies him. This also police. So this now means self two Okada then and then can hit themselves. The other one he can't inside the guy in motorcab, so he not be able for save him. So he get for mass. I don't know if I think the guy died. These are some of the things that we.
Makota, make I explain why Semigo blame the president.
Right.
Why they blame the president is very simple and straightforward. The rule of law. Where the president cannot guarantee the behavior of a serviceman, a policeman. If the policeman take an action, may that action be investigated and see if the personnel act according to the rules. But here is the president what they say, the bobo they won't protest, they go fend unnecessary death. He don't give a license to the policeman there, may they go they kill people there because the president is there without investigating to free them from the matter. That is why I'm blaming you. I'm very strong on this.
So it's an Eskoroma. When the police shoot students in Ajala and kill them, was an Eskoroma responsible for that? And
okay, I will answer that question. If that was wrong,
wait, let me finish though. The question. The investigation, which never happened, but we said that investigation go where the whole police, they're accountable. Because since we now pointing fingers, if we're really trying to solve Salon problem, we have to be honest about all these things because it needs to be solved going forward. But tell me, Usa, the APC investigation into that problem there.
Okay, thank you very much. What you mean they say to this forum and to the listener then, if the past government don't do something wrong, now we pay them, the price will pay them, they take a back seat. So this government will don't come in, anything what know they good, what the people they not do. Some of us will not support anything wrong what the APC do because the APC and the individuals there, they're different. When some people do something, una blame the APC. The APC not can send somebody or make a minister, make the person go do something wrong. Now make the APC they fire and Eskoroma, he fire some people there because what he do, he not represents what the APC stand for. We have to be clear on that kind of issues.
Anyone can go.
All right, so let me just come in a little bit with regards to what Mr. Abdul said, talking about the issue of the president saying that he don't employ people that he know. He employ people that he know and he thinks they can do the job. That is exactly what a leader should be doing. He has to employ people that he knows. And this is out of a management perspective. If you want to be an effective manager or you go back to human resources, you don't employ people because they are your friends. When you say no, those people he know, and those people he know they can do the job, it means those people that he can be accountable for. He know them, he been with them, he know what they can do. So those are the people he's going to employ. And he's right about that.
Since it is interactive, okay, on that note, come during election day, many people will sabi the president, may they vote for him. The people that will not sabi him, may not vote for him.
Well, okay. This is why the misinterpretation. This is why the misinterpretation.
Many people of Sierra Leone know
this is where
once he knows sabi that he not going to forget them.
Listen. Your voice is very loud because your voice is very loud because you are deceiving the public to the statement that was made by the president by saying people I know, and you are saying now that let them go vote for him. He meant people who can do the job. Listen, what he meant is that people who can do the job. He didn't tell. That's what you are misrepresenting.
No, we
That's a misrepresentation.
No, we get
Saying to somebody, I employ people that I know, doesn't mean that his tribesmen, doesn't mean that his voters, he means people who are competent. They are incompetent. No.
He said, even though you are the best, if I don't know you, that's
correct.
He said, even though you are the best.
My brother, I think Ajibu want talk. Log Ajibu chance for talk. Ajibu want talk.
Ajibu, go ahead. I know some defense.
I see we don't skew away from the original question. The original question was, why is the president responsible for all what people do? We come to more. The president now employ all hands, pretty much. Okay, you don't go hold parliamentarian responsible for any other thing. You hold parliamentarian responsible because they want they vote for them. The president, on the other hand, now at the head and he hire a minister. You cannot hold the minister responsible because the minister, not for you hire them. You know, they work for you. They work for the president. They propagate the president's idea and in thoughts. So the minister not responsible to you. Now to minister now responsible to. That is why when minister get trouble, the president for relieve and force before police now go for arrest them. You know, whatever I read and say that man a minister, policeman arrest them. Not possible. Pass the minister, pass the president reliever, because the minister they carry the president in power. Much like you ambassador Naya, you go read and say ambassador. What's in the language? What's that diplomatic language? Basiru, help me now. We get one language. I go remember additional.
Diplomatic immunity. Diplomatic immunity.
Not the immunity. President
Persona non grata before you arrest them.
No, personal non grata. Now where they grab somebody, they put respect for them. Exactly. But immunity is correct. But I go remember immunity is correct. But I go remember the exact language where they give how you call an ambassador. With the ambassador, they carry the power of the president where it day outside of a country. The minute where the president come, he don't reduce himself back to a public servant no more. And then they fly flag again. And the president don't take over. As the president left, it become the president back again. Like the same with minister. Minister, they carry the power of the president. And they work for the president, not for you. So he's not responsible. Anything where minister do, and the president is the only responsible directly. Now, the police, what they talk about? Now, a professional outfit. For small thing the way the policeman they do, obviously you go hold the police boss responsible. But when policeman pass mark, it be over and over and over again. Of course, you hold the president responsible, because the president and the vice president now one we run a single presidency, and the vice president now in at the head of the police council. And they select whether for be police boss or not for be police boss. So if policeman pass mark and do something, they're not changer. The president is directly responsible. On the other hand, if a parliamentarian do something wrong, the president is responsible. No, for the parliamentarian, they go for election, you vote for them, you get your own right to get your own power. So now he's responsible for himself. The most you go do is you go report them to speaker, but you don't go report them to president. So the president in Sierra Leone is directly responsible for anything we're not correct in governance.
All right, let me ask this question. Let me ask this general question. What in actually, let somebody come up with a reasonable doubt situation where you feel the police have acted unprofessionally, or they have committed some crimes. I haven't seen that yet. Can somebody come up with certain things that police have done in Sierra Leone?
All right, just this.
I haven't seen them yet.
All right, just 2 days ago.
I live in the Western world. I'm right here in New York City.
You ask a question, let somebody answer the question. 2 days ago, did you see the video of the OSD beating the girl with the magazine?
Okay.
Did you see that video? Have you seen the video?
The lady for the IPAM graduation?
No.
Sorry, guys, I've been getting
it's a different video. I will try to get it to you.
All right. Why would I explain that?
Yeah. This OSD seen on video physically assaulting this lady, pretty much torturing her to confess about a crime of stealing a phone or something. Physically beating her with, I think it was the magazine of the weapon.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you saw that video, but that.
No, I haven't. I didn't see that.
All right. So that's just this week. But I will talk to Michael to try to get to that video. But anyways, I understand the power of the president. I understand who's responsible, what ministers are serving under the president and stuff like that. I understand all that stuff. Even he has the same thing. But at the end of the day, okay, when somebody's given a responsibility, okay, where we hold the government, it's at the end of the day, it's election. If that government continues to keep that person in power, then you put up you defer those blames to the president. But please let us not be here to understand that in Sierra Leone that something will happen in Kailaon. Police that has never even seen Kenneman will act up in Kailaon, and then we'll blame the president the next moment, as if the president will not just blame the institution, we'll blame the president as if he personally gave an order for that police to do what they did. And this is what I'm saying. You get me? There's a blame to let's reform the government is not reforming the police, or the government is not doing enough to hold its police accountable. definitely that's government, right? That's we should put that in front of on the but like there's certain things, basic behaviors of the police, and we all know that these people do what they want to do most time on their own. But we somehow, like I said, it could be somebody in Pujehun that ABK has never seen, and he acts up and say, "Oh, now APC police." But that same police, as soon as SLPP come, they become SLPP police.
Exactly. Right.
And this is the part I'm saying. Because of that, I'm serious. Because of that, it's why we've not really had a serious police reform in our country. Because we keep shifting the police loyalty to different parties. Parliament can ask for some of these reforms. Parliament can push for some of these police reforms. Parliament can put laws in place that
they should.
But if I believe if you put police reforms today in Salon Parliament between SLPP and APC, the majority will vote for it. But guess what? It never comes because we keep isolating or we keep pushing one party as the party that's in blame for the police reform. What we need to do is, like I said, if we pay attention, we really push this blame to the police, we will see reform. But as long as we keep isolating one party, make it like it's one party's problem. And I promise, APC comes in 2023, the kind of power, it becomes APC's police.
Mr. Bashiru well said. What about all the government they misuse the police? How the government misuse the police? And the words of Parliament, the SLPP not for bring police inside Parliament. Then another issue for consider. They brought for immediate members of the opposition.
I see you still.
I believe we all talking here. Other than
we are interacting.
Probably Mr. Jallo.
Yes. I don't the radio. I'll call back.
Police people maintain law and order. So that policeman go to Parliament and Parliament and they wrong. Probably. You will see they not only get a police to stay and get a man and be a man. That's total misuse of
I'm still pondering on the issue of reforming the police. It's good, but on what account? I believe all of us here live. Hold on, all of us here. I'm coming. Let me finish. All of us here live in America, in the United States. I believe all of us here in the United States. And having known what police brutality is, and you talking about police brutality, I haven't seen a very particular issue where actually police brutality has taken place. And correct me if I'm wrong.
Wow.
Yes, I haven't seen that as compared to where I live and where the origin of democracy.
Okay, Mr.
And human rights.
Okay,
I have a question for Ajibu.
Go ahead, Abu.
Ajibu, the question want me get. I want me to tell me who and what are the function of the clerk of parliament in Sierra Leone as an administrator. But as he said, this man don't they play the role of a local militia for the government in power for when they bring policeman at that place there. Over to you, sir. What you know, I for navigate between the two parties or the parties in parliament.
This is an interactive situation.
Yeah, but the question is,
hold on.
Listening to a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Very important question you ask. The role of the clerk of parliament is the administrative head of parliament, meaning that he know to politician in any shape or form. I can give you an example like a minister. You move kind of a ministry, the head of the ministry, the political head, and the minister. The administrative head of a ministry and the permanent secretary. When we're ready for talk politics talk, permanent secretary then the next day they go and the permanent secretary the only kind side who they talk about governance issue. Okay, the clerk of parliament. Somebody need for bringing down the capital and stop this man. This man they get involved too much. Yes, now be a member of parliament. Yes, now be a member of the opposition. But this job they can give you now as clerk of parliament. You now administrator. What does that mean? Now you they receive all mails. Now you they respond to all mail. Now you they tender budget for the warning of Parliament. Now you they omit that budget day, and now you the answer to all queries we get for you with administrative section. When it comes to politics, the putting me up in a parliament, if you just quiet, it's not quiet, you get no business. Just like the rest of the other clerk them. Somebody need for bring this up. Mr. Paran Tarawali, not a politician. But this now all because of this bulldoze where the government they bulldoze and bulldoze the wing speaker, then bulldoze they take a parliamentarian. And really, in one of the most vociferous parliamentarian, the tell within our office, and the current deputy head of government business. Okay, where they tune up party now the pound table. Stem down, I forgot do, and stem down, and that's making talk. The state of the union again, the beginning active. But
right, but back to the police issue. I am still standing on my ground. I think the people of Sierra Leone, not the government, they underestimated the importance of the police. And I haven't seen any sacred place in all the democratic and the civilized countries in the world where a police should not enter and don't have an affair. Taking Sierra Leone police into the parliament, the well of the parliament of Sierra Leone. What crime has that committed? What is that crime? Police are everywhere. The police are to police wherever you are, wherever there's a property owned by the government or the country of Sierra Leone, or wherever there are people. The police have the right to enter and go and execute their duties anywhere they have to go.
Can I answer that?
Correct.
The reason you don't do it, the reason most parliaments or in the US, for example, most in the Senate and the House, you have their own police. The reason they have their own police is because their police is not directly linked to the government. Their police is totally under the control of that particular body. The reason you don't want the police that a sitting government controls to come in there and intimidate parliamentarians is why in almost every world not bring police into parliament and force your way because people are misbehaving. Normally they have the sergeant at arms that have their own security that will deal with that, but not the national police who is controlled directly by the sitting government, because in the past it's been used to intimidate people like you are right now calling for what happened for the deputy speaker of the house or to be arrested, the head of the opposition to be locked up. This is exactly why it's not allowed, because political people like you will use it as a tool to intimidate the other side. This is exactly why it's not allowed.
That's not an intimidation. When you break the rules and laws, whether you're a political opponent or the president, you are bound to be arrested. That's not
you don't have to agree with it. Say, if you look at America now, you get Capitol Police and you get Washington DC police.
That is quite correct. That's quite correct.
What did they tell you? So now we own parliamentary police arrangement. Just like what inside town, you get FCC, Freetown City Council police.
Okay, that I know. Of course.
So what did they say? Make the policeman the way responsible for parliament, make them exhaust their own thought process and their own training force before a thing escalates to a point where they're able to handle it. Like invite now, maybe if need be, they invite outside police. That is what he's saying. But for make the outside police, as they say, Nyagunda, and then force the kind inside, shouldn't be that way.
All right, guys. I think say we don't exhaust this. One thing, I'm gonna give you now 1 minute for the round up, and I go start with Mr. Abdul. What thing they go on with you? It's Alex say you don't escape.
Abdul, a minute.
Okay. Now start with Bible. You get 1 minute. 1 minute. Everybody now 1 minute. What's not the way forward in this entire matter with the governors alone? Bible. You.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. May they just tell the listeners and viewers in Sierra Leone, say more act on the premise of the president. Who say we not sabi you, I let you be the best person. You know they give you job. So, all election come for put box. You self not get a job if you not sabi and say he able to do the work fine. Now, that they not mommy the advice Sierra Leone because at any side way, as long as you not sabi, you not get for good job. So, Sierra Leone, watch out. Think about it.
All right. I know say you and Mr. Kabo always na this way then now. Now you're na rival then, so now always defeat. Mr. Kabo, go ahead.
Well, all I would say is, propaganda and misinterpretation makes the greatest noise, just like empty vessels. Now, I think the president's words are taken out of context, and Sierra Leoneans, they are aware of short people. And this is what APC does. They take the words of the president, the governing body, out of context, and then they send them to you. False information, lies, propaganda make it the greatest noise, and they bear weight. And people like you who might not understand that much, you can't read into a statement or between lines, you are carried away by this. At the end of the day, when you go to court, you are wrong. And APC will always be wrong in the court of law. As long as it's a court of law, APC will always be wrong.
All right.
That's all I have to tell you.
All right. Mr. Abdul, go ahead. 1 minute.
I just want to tell the viewers maybe the president, the next time he go on the media, perhaps he consult and advises them. If you not do, when I listen to the interview we do, just like way by Bure talk about the appointment, but the other thing we really kind of disappointing. And I want to applaud the two ladies, Ashma True and the other lady, 98.5. Where they asked the president about bringing the country together. For a leader, you have to use diplomatic words because you are the father of the nation. For making say, well, we have always been divided. The British then divide we. You get Mandela, you get Timnila there. But when you were campaigning, kudos to the lady who asked that question. He said, but when you were campaigning, Mr. President, you said you go bring the country together. Now that you have been given the mantle of leadership and you are still sitting there on national TV telling the people that you supposed to advise because you are the father of the nation, say, well, we have always been divided. I mean, you get Mandela, you get Tim Nilan, you get this. I think, say, as a leader, diplomacy and diplomatic language will always be better. And we always there, America, with the same. When you ask a politician a tough question, they answer them. It become very evasive. Unless you come to a journalist way very hard-headed, he keep pushing you. 9 out of 10, they don't even answer that. And so now that's from let the people understand that.
Thank you, Bashiru. Go ahead.
So I will respond to Bure in one part. I think I will always prefer a president where they appoint people away. A president has to appoint people that they trust. You campaign and you win when you get that position there. The people that way they bring up is people that you have to trust. Okay? There's a lot of experts. I bet you there's a lot of people there way smarter than Ajibu that were available in Sierra Leone. Okay? But that special trust that was bestowed in him, what they call him, what they bring him here. So you have to bring people that you trust. So those type of things, I don't say it as anything. The president has to put people that he trusts. There's so many experts. You know how many people in America own economists then? There's so many of them. But at the end of the day, the people that you put in your government are people that you trust. So I have never seen that as an issue. We can go debate and expand that and try to score political points on that. But it's not an issue. Parliament, to me, is the issue in Salon. Parliament is the only body that can actually increase its power. Parliament is the body that can increase its own pay. Parliament is the body that can make laws. Many laws at the Salon Parliament actually made laws that originate from them, not laws that the government bring to them. Laws that actually originate from them. Where parliamentarians say, make we bring this law because it will impact or make better Salon people in life. How many of them? Not laws where the government they push over. How many really don't originate from the parliament? There's not been a lot because I'm sorry, but Salon Parliament is the most incompetent thing. We'll fix that.
All right. Thank you very much. Ajibu Jallo, go ahead.
Yes, sir. In politics, we're going to call politics or get political gymnastics. Political gymnastics, now the president and the team play. Okay, and this happened. What happened is that they don't get any very good reason for coming with the midterm census. and knowing fully well to say the parliament will question them, will ask them for good reason why you don't bring census. Okay, so what you can do and decide for delay and tender that paper they only that instruments they only when the parliamentarian they don't go on leave on vacation. Okay, such that that document they go to the table, parliamentarian not go one for come back, they go lay on it for 21 days, nobody will question them, and then they go move forward with that. That was the idea. The real question is why make one or do a census now? Why? Census is good, not get me wrong. They make you identify almost people that you can identify the people and they so social services can be provided for them. But why you want to do a midterm census costing $6 million now? What you do? Honorable Kemon Sise give you idea. He say, hey, NYR, they look long term down the road. They can't start this census, knowing fully well for say they're not going for complete time in time. We're not able for complete time in time, and we know say next year we get municipal election the way they come, and we'll say, no, since we not get full census, make we move to proportional representation. And when you move to proportional representation, you will take a like Moyamba, okay, we're 10 times more than Bombali, and say 20 people in that represents Moyamba equal to Bombali with 10 times bigger. And we do then kind of arrangement and they for make them show themselves for make them win election. And give the play, and see to play, we will open we eye and see what will happen. It should not happen, it will not happen, it's not going to happen.
Thank you very much. Now, now, Mr. Kabo, I will be happy the time when you actually become an APC member, but that time will come by God's power.
You don't want that kind of damn you want that. You know
Ajibu Makota.
Ajibu, na sanda de kerigo, na da de go tie you. Ajibu.
No problem.
No sanda na me go shake mu. Muna.
Na Rokula ye kerango.
Yes, Rokula. Them Royanka. You know that.
No, nobody understand me. Royanka, the original talk.
So I'm telling them, I know. So I know what I'm saying.
Royanka, that's true.
Royanka,
Yes, sir.
I know the only person who know this man more than enough who would everything I name again because me what I'm bringing person now APC now the name are the first to understand.
Ali Basak. Ali Basak. I sabi this like waiting. Wait one lie in a leaky much. Now that is a close position, not what you begin.
Makota, before we go, that word we forget, the word that we plenipotentiary. You hear they say ambassador extraordinary plenipotentiary. What they say plenipotentiary, meaning that you get all the power of the president who they represent. Plenipotentiary.
Okay. So Ali Basak, you can APC. You know what they do? Would they do like Paul with the console of Tarsus with Jesus?
You therefore remember, say I come from the seat of the APC, where even SLPP aspire that they will not even get 10 or 4%. That's why I come.
I don't make me happy because it's something
I
that's
think you don't know that.
Rokula no APC they get vote. Is that Rokula no finish?
Who's Fatimode na APC they get vote?
I know so.
Who's Fatimode na APC they get vote?
Yes, no say APC. I say SLPP they get vote because of party. When I'm
well, we change the narrative, and we already changing it.
Okay.
Mr. Kagbo.
Just for thanking very much for this one. Discussion. It's been great for we say for we country and people the way what they watch we would they continue for asking for now continue for watch and also like when they give una comment at the section would they always they broadcast this comment here but I ask at the end of the day you see we all disagree but at the end of the day what thing happen we end up with laughter and everybody embrace everybody that is I want my that country today so now we continue for disagree to agree because salon is one you not get two salons so now me and you get for make no matter what's not the difference is what me and you get at the end of the day we'll get for sit down and say what's in the bigger picture is here So I thank you very much again. We'll see now. A programming notes, Mr. Gabo, una all the commentators, una one for be part of that. Tomorrow, I get for do a special program the same time, 3:00 Eastern time, where I did bring Williams of Stay Red Movement because he gets so many information. We have been telling him if I've been can't today, but he get for do other things then. So tomorrow, if they come at the program, for now we can talk about all what we don't talk. So most of the things that we don't talk. So now we get a first-hand information from the person who been there, the parliament, the person we everything we get know about parliamentary stuff tomorrow. Williams, they come at the program. So we hope for soon at the same time.
But Mangota, wait happy, where PC been in a power, party been there, they bring people from the government. SLPP na 3 and now, we're not ever able to get somebody from SLPP. What's going on? Then they afraid for come, Mr. Kagbo for reach out to them all.
SLPP, then they forget, you know things that happen with SLPP. Most of them ministers, yeah, thank you.
What are you want, but we'll get that for you.
The Minister of Information. I really want to talk to that one day.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. We'll go work on that.
But Bashir, you know SLPP?
Me?
No, but Bashir, it's not like a neutralist.
Me not neutralist, like I said, I'm leaning more SLPP than APC, but I am when it comes to salon politics, I don't swear like for anyone.
Yeah, because Mangota, because even you party be frequent at the TPN where you mother be make an acting publicity secretary Lima. But Lima don't avoid you. I don't avoid you.
You know, Lima don't calm down so much. I don't believe Lima don't simmer down completely.
So not
Exactly.
not only no, Lima don't calm down.
Why you think that happened? Fine. What do you think that happened?
It can't guess now the Hague.
That's like case. Because again, pressure was put on him. Pressure was put on him as a liability to the government. Pressure was put on him. The same thing. I make what the former line minister is gone. We can put pressure on incompetent people, but to say everything, just you blame the president. Man, I need to go any sound in time, don't know. But you can pull some of them.
Tell them that.
Out. We can't pull them out with pressure. But if you take them away from the man, you go through and to the president. The man just continue with incompetency.
Naturally or by design, the APC na Democratic Party. Now I make even a team there. He said APC is we are always waiting to vote. Not do anything by violence. Not believing that. We're waiting for the box.
You don't believe violence. You don't speak Timini by default. You know what is that APC Bamukramo Karamukakuma? What do you talk?
That is true,
He's speaking Timini by default. We know what we meant. Last week. Hey, Jalo Nafulaman. You know Sabi. That's now all the Sabi. So now all here they speak Timini by default. I am the original Timini here. So I know what you want to talk.
Kagbo, you're my original Timini.
You're not Timini. Okay. I know.
It's a one.
No, Mr. Adam, not Timini. That's true. But all the one is by default.
My contact with Timini.
Wait me.
My contact Timini. From Doyani, one. From
Mr. Kagbo, what I will ask, that Speaker of Parliament, he said the President get the power to bring information, no questions asked. If the President get the power for do that, why the kind of Parliament again? Why not just
because he want to be soft and easygoing man to work with everybody. Yeah. He want to be soft. That's why he want to work with you guys to satisfy you. But he know whatever thing you do. That Mr. Gallo, you ask me the question. No, Mr. Gallo,
you don't know all kinds of things. Then the other question I ask, Mark Otadi big. This one also next week we'll deal with that. The president they receive per DM. And not, I mean, that guy Kutubu, he make a statement where if he don't say anything right, he don't talk sense. Per DM na money where they give public official, where they go engage on public work, or make it pay a hotel bill, make it feed himself, and make it take transport. Per DM, period.
Right. So
President, anytime where they go on side, the hotel pay for before you reach there, the food pay for before you reach there, the transportation pay for. What did they receive per DM for?
Wait, so unless somebody receive per DM?
1 day. Remember,
1 day.
1 day.
and let's not receive per diem. And let's not.
Mr. Donami, per diem, I don't tell you what's in a per diem.
I know
Per diem, the money for go pay your hotel,
Right.
the money for go buy your food, and transportation.
Right.
Where you go and public work.
And probably because of going out of your country, you get some
No.
allowance there.
Kagbo, you misquoting Ajibu. Yeri wetin the man say. He say, per diem, now where you they go out, if they invite you, if America invite Mr. Kagbo, when a foreign minister for Canada, then they feed you, then they lodge you. They don't need for you per diem. But if you the Kaya on behalf of Sierra Leone for can lobby, then they go give per diem. Not also Ajibu.
You go over if you go walk other side than your base, other side than which side you dey, attack na freedom. And they go walk na McKinney. If you go walk na McKinney, the government took they go do, I forget per diem for people in hotel, money for pay for the food. If I tap na freedom, na then the office day, na the original office day, and they go na Guinea, I forget them. And they go America, I forget them. But in the case of the president, any side where the president they go, now the state they pay for already. Where this president side they go Japan, before he reach there, they don't pay for a hotel down, they don't pay for a food down, they don't pay for a transport. What in the old per diem for now one side before do what with the money?
Now loot.
No. What does the Constitution say? We ask una and then parliamentarian there. We ask una will be the day.
Ajibu.
We don't know. What does the Constitution say? What does the benefit of the president say?
It's
We don't
travel
know.
stress.
You tell us.
Hey, that for travel stress, okay?
On top of that,
For travel, very stressful.
on top of that, no, wait, on top of that,
I think
Mr. Jallo, you question when they ask, we will send them back to you because you don't need it.
Okay, hold on 1 second. 1 second. The president also always, what did the president always get? Now an impress. An impress different from per diem. Impress the money where they give you when in case of Eniola.
Stand by, yes.
Okay.
Stand by in case of Eniola.
Right.
Okay, incidentals. In Sierra Leone,
Why are all these questions now?
Wait.
What do you want to get from us?
from you, not from us, from you.
Okay, what do you want to get from me? What do you, because you guys put the law.
Why you president they go accept a DM where you not going to go pay for hotel, you not going to go pay for transportation.
What does the law say? No, I don't be there they won't they make the law. You know they're not the law. You know they're not the law. You know they're not the law.
No, not the law.
You know they know where?
No,
Then we have to ask him. We have to find out. You sure?
The president don't loot.
No. I don't subscribe to that. I can't believe that.
Let me
I
tell
can't
you.
believe that.
Let me tell you.
I travel stress.
Because I think na insurance. Madam, you don't say na insurance.
Travel stress, man. Travel too much. Yeah, for travel.
Listen, I don't know where that question comes from. And
the money earmark to pay you hotel bill and for buy you food where you eat. It's not
I
there for
understand that. All monies where the president they get now is that as a president or any other person, now rules and regulations then are people that we don't budget them, especially members of parliament who are responsible. I believe these are protocols, these are channels, and they've been there. It's just a custom.
No.
It's been written down.
Is that the same custom? Is that the same custom that get money from the?
Well, if they are not the customs, why do you guys give them the money? Why do you guys don't ask him that? The parliamentarian.
The minister of finance they aid and abet corruption.
Yeah, but why the parliament they not ask that question? They if what you they say not true. Why the parliamentarians don't ask that?
Time will come. Bible will ask him.
No, I don't buy those statements. I don't fall for them yet.
You know what? Now you know the government spokesman I have. Okay, but I just want to thank you very much. Waiting, we don't discuss tomorrow. We go see that now if I get chance for coming. A very fruitful conversation. So,
All right, thank you.